Most men ruin the moment the second they go in for a hug. You think you're showing affection, you think you're being a gentleman, but to her it feels awkward, forgettable, or worse, needy. See, no one teaches men how to touch a woman with presence. No one shows you how a hug, done right, can whisper desire louder than words ever could. And so most guys either hug too tight, like they're afraid to lose her, or too loose, like they're not really there. And here's the truth. A hug is not just a gesture. It's a moment of energy transfer, a language, a test. She decides in seconds if she wants more, or if this ends here. You've probably been in that situation before. You meet her, there's chemistry, you feel it. But the moment you go in for that goodbye hug, everything dies, the tension, the spark, the chance. This video is going to change that. We're not just talking about hugs. We're talking about how a Stoic man moves, breathes, touches without needing, without chasing. You're about to learn 10 ways to turn a simple hug into something unforgettable. Not by doing more, but by being more. Present, intentional, magnetic. Let's get into it. Number 1. Hold her like you own the moment. Most guys think a hug is just a hug, but if that's how you see it, you've already lost the moment. See, when a man hugs a woman without presence, she knows. She may not say it out loud, but she feels it instantly. It's either comforting or confusing. It's either grounded or grasping. There's no middle. Let me tell you about Mark. He's 47, works in finance, and just started dating again after his divorce. He met Lisa, 45, vibrant, confident. First date went great. They laughed, talked for hours, walked under city lights. But when the night ended, Mark stepped in, gave her this quick, stiff-armed hug, mumbled a joke, and let go like he was dodging a landmine. Lisa smiled, but inside, she was done. Because here's the part men miss. A hug isn't about proximity, it's about presence. You don't hug her like she's yours, you hug her like the moment is. That means your shoulders are relaxed, your breathing is steady, your arms aren't gripping but supporting. You're not asking for anything, you're just there. Fully. You hold her the way a calm ocean holds a boat. Secure, steady, without dragging her under. That's the energy she craves, especially from a man who's lived long enough to stop proving things. And this is where Stoicism comes in, not as a cold philosophy, but as a quiet power. A Stoic man doesn't need to squeeze to show strength. He doesn't need to rush or explain. His presence says it all. And women? They read presence like a sixth sense. Own the moment by slowing down. When you approach, do it like time is yours. When you hold her, do it like you're not afraid of silence, of stillness, of space. You're not controlling her, you're in control of yourself. That's the difference. Now think about Lisa again. Imagine if Mark had taken one breath before stepping in, if his hug had been deliberate, easy, and intentional, if he'd simply let her feel him safe, rooted, calm. That hug would have said more than words ever could. He didn't have to win her. He just had to hold the moment. You want to stand out. Be the man who doesn't rush to impress. Be the man who makes her forget everything except how grounded she feels in your arms. That's unforgettable. Now, here's what I want you to do. Drop a comment below. Let the world know what kind of man you're becoming. Say it with strength. I hold the moment. No. And if this resonated with you, if something inside clicked just now, wait until you hear what's coming next. Because the next shift is subtle, but it flips everything. Stick around. Let's keep going. Number 2. Let silence speak louder than words. Here's a harsh truth most men don't want to hear. You talk too much, especially in moments that don't need words. Especially when you're close to her, physically close. You ruin the moment trying to fill it. You think silence is awkward. She thinks silence is powerful. What you call being expressive, she often experiences as nervous energy, insecurity, trying to prove something. She doesn't need your words in the middle of an embrace. She needs your presence. your stillness, your calm. When you hug her and your mouth starts running jokes, comments, explanations, it cuts the energy. You think you're charming. She feels you drifting. Stoics knew this a long time ago. Epictetus said it best. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. But in this case, the listening isn't with your ears. It's with your energy, your body, your awareness of the moment. Silence isn't passive. It's not empty. It's pressure. It's electricity. And when a woman feels that you're totally fine in the silence, when you don't rush to escape it, that's when the dynamic shifts. She leans in. She softens. Because your stillness says more than any pickup line ever could. Now listen, I'm not saying never speak. Words matter. But there are moments where silence is the loudest move you can make. When she's in your arms, that's one of them. Let your breath do the talking. Let your body tell her, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not trying to impress. I'm just here. And most men can't do that. They can't sit in the heat of a moment without running their mouths. That's why they never become magnetic. They break the spell too soon. You want to be unforgettable? Don't try to fill the space. Become the space. The man who says nothing but still says everything, that's the man she won't stop thinking about. So next time you're close to her, in that moment of quiet connection, don't break it with a joke. Don't lighten it. Hold it. Feel it. Trust it. And if that silence makes you uncomfortable, good. That means you're growing into it. Let your silence be the most confident thing in the room. If this hit you right where it needed to, let me know in the comments. Drop this in. I speak with stillness. And just when you think it can't go deeper than silence, you'll see why it absolutely can. Stay with me. Number 3. Stare confidently and lovingly into her eyes. Eye contact. Most men screw this up without even realizing it. They either avoid it altogether, or they overdo it and come off intense, stiff, or just plain weird. But when you get it right, when you lock eyes with her in a way that's calm, warm, and confident, it flips something inside her. It hits differently. And that kind of moment, she doesn't forget it. Let me show you what I mean. David, 52, works in architecture. Sharp guy. Quiet confidence. He recently went on a second date with Michelle, 48. They were having drinks in a quiet lounge, nothing fancy, just a low-lit, easy vibe. Somewhere in the middle of the conversation, she asked him a personal question. Nothing crazy. Just, what scares you the most right now? David didn't rush to answer. He took a sip of his drink, leaned back just slightly, and looked her dead in the eye. Not cold, not cocky, just steady. And in that pause before he even said a word, Michelle told him later, she felt more drawn to him in that one moment than the entire hour before. Why? Because when a man can hold eye contact without flinching, without shifting, without turning it into a performance, it sends a message. I'm here. I see you. I'm not afraid. That kind of gaze isn't just visual, it's energetic. Women aren't reading your words as much as they're reading your presence. Your eyes say it all, whether you're grounded, whether you're pretending, whether you're truly with her or secretly somewhere else inside your head. When you hug a woman, or you're inches from her face, and you meet her, eyes don't fill the space with nervous energy. Don't dart your eyes away, and please, don't stare like you're trying to hypnotize her. Just be there. Soft, focused, fully present. Seneca said, "A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." When you break eye contact too soon, when you panic inside and look away, you're suffering before anything's even happened. She's not judging you. She's watching to see if you'll stay calm. If you can hold that emotional charge without breaking, that's where attraction lives. And no, this isn't about dominance. This isn't a staring contest. This is about emotional stillness, about seeing her without trying to figure her out or impress her. Because women over 40, they've seen a lot. They've seen the charmers, the performers, the ones who say the right things and look away when it matters most. But what they don't often see is a man who can see them back. So next time you're close to her, whether you're hugging her, listening to her, or just sitting across the table, look into her eyes. Not with pressure, not with demand, just with presence. Let her feel that calm. Let her feel that connection. Let her wonder what it is about you that feels different, because it is. Now, if you felt this, and you're ready to start seeing things differently too, drop a comment and say, "I see with presence." And if you think eye contact says a lot, wait until you realize what your touch is already telling her. You're not ready for what's next, but you will be. Stick with me. Number 4. Make her feel safe, not smothered. There's a fine line between making her feel protected and making her feel trapped. And most men cross it without realizing. See, when you hug a woman or get physically close in any way, she's not just feeling your arms, she's feeling your energy, your neediness, your tension, your desire to be accepted, validated, or chosen. And if any of that comes through, she shuts down. You might think being all in is romantic, but when you pour all your emotion into a hug, when you grip too tight, linger too long, breathe too fast, it doesn't feel safe. It feels like you're holding on for dear life. That's not masculine energy. That's fear in disguise. A man who truly makes her feel safe doesn't need to prove anything. He doesn't wrap his entire identity into one moment of connection. He gives space, he gives room, he holds with confidence, not desperation. Marcus Aurelius said it best: "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." Calm is strength, and strength is what makes her feel safe. So when you hug her, don't smother her with your feelings. Don't make her carry your emotional weight. That's not what intimacy is for. Let your presence speak. Let your body say, "I've got me. I don't need you to complete me, but I'm fully here if you want to meet me." That's a radically different energy from most men. And here's the secret: women can feel the difference instantly. It's not even about what you do, it's about who you are in that moment. If you hug her with calm confidence, she'll melt into you. If you cling with anxious hope, she'll quietly pull away, even if she doesn't show it. Now look, wanting to be close to her is natural. Wanting to feel her warmth, her softness, her affection, it's human. But if you're doing it from a place of emptiness, it will never land right. The energy of, "I need you to want me," is heavy, and it makes her feel like she has to carry both of you. Instead, step into the moment with groundedness. Let the hug be an invitation, not an invasion. Let her feel that your life doesn't depend on her reaction. That's where safety begins. Because what makes a woman trust you, what makes her relax, open up, and lean in, is not how tightly you hold her. It's how calmly you don't. So the next time you hug her, ask yourself, am I showing up whole, or am I hoping she'll fill something for me? That single shift in mindset can change everything about how she feels in your arms. And when she feels safe, she'll want to stay close. Not because you pulled her in, but because you let her choose to stay. If this clicked for you, even just one line, let it show. Comment this: "I lead with calm, hope." And now that you understand how to hold her without holding too tight, there's something even more powerful than your body. It's how you release her. We're going there next. Stay with me. Number 5. Breathe in a way she can feel you. Most men think they're calm until they get close to a woman they actually want. That's when the breath gives them away. Suddenly, they're either holding their breath like they're bracing for impact, or they're breathing fast, high in the chest, like a man out of sync with himself. You might think she doesn't notice. She does. She may not call it out, but her body picks it up immediately. Because breath is energy, and energy, especially in moments of intimacy, is the real language of connection. Now picture this. Jason is 51, lives in Austin, works in real estate, been divorced for a few years. He meets Erin, 46, a lawyer, independent, sharp, gorgeous. They've been on a few solid dates. The conversation is easy, the chemistry is there, but every time they hug goodbye, she pulls away just a bit too soon. He wonders if he did something wrong. Was he too slow, too fast? Did he say something weird? But here's the truth. It wasn't what he said. It was how he breathed. Or rather, how he didn't. That third date, something shifted. He had her over for dinner, no distractions, low music, good food, candles not forced, just intentional. At the end of the night, he walked her to the door. No jokes, no rush, just silence. And as he leaned in to hug her, he finally remembered what he'd been missing, his breath. This time, he slowed it down. Deep inhale through the nose, slow exhale through the mouth. Nothing dramatic, nothing rehearsed, just a grounded, intentional breath that told his body and hers, I'm right here. And she stayed, longer than she had before. Because when your breath is calm, you are calm. And when you're calm, she feels safe. When you're erratic, even subtly, she feels like something's off. Here's why. Her nervous system is built to scan for threat and safety. That includes emotional threat, neediness, insecurity, indecision, and those signals, they ride on your breath. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your breath is your way into that power. It's the tool that brings your mind back into your body. It slows your thoughts, grounds your energy, makes you feel and be more present. So the next time you're close to her, physically or emotionally, check your breathing. Are you holding it as if she holds all the power? Or are you breathing slow, easy, steady like a man who knows who he is? Because when your breath is full and relaxed, your energy expands. And women don't just notice that, they respond to it. A steady breath invites her in. It tells her she can slow down too, that she doesn't have to carry the room or the conversation or the emotional weight. Your breath becomes the anchor. Jason didn't need to say a word. He didn't change his cologne. He didn't learn some trick. He just breathed like a man who wasn't chasing anything. And that's when she finally leaned in, because she felt it. Now it's your turn. Practice breathing when no one's around. Own your space when nothing's at stake. Then when the moment comes, it won't feel like a performance. It'll feel like you. If this lands, write this in the comments. I breathe with power. And if your breath speaks without words, wait until you learn how to touch without taking. Stay close. Number 6. Let your touch tease, not take. Let's be clear, touch is powerful, but most men handle it like a toddler swinging a sword. They move too fast, they touch too much, and they think the goal is to take something approval, control, or validation. What they don't realize is that touch isn't about possession, it's about perception, and perception is everything. When your touch says, I'm trying to get something from you, she'll feel it in her body before her brain even processes it. That's how finely tuned women are to masculine energy. But if your touch says, I'm present, composed, and already full, she won't just feel safe, she'll feel pulled in. That's the difference between teasing and taking. Teasing creates space. It leaves room for imagination, for curiosity, for her to move closer on her own. Taking forces. It tightens. It closes the moment down. So how do you tease with touch? You start by slowing way down. Make every contact intentional. A brief, grounded hand on her lower back. A soft, steady palm on her arm as you pass. Nothing rushed. Nothing lingering too long. No groping. No grabbing. No gripping. And then you let go. That's the part most men don't get. They think touch builds intimacy, but the removal of touch, when timed right, is what leaves the lasting mark. When you pull your hand away before she expects it without explanation, Without attachment, it makes her notice the absence. It makes her want the return. That's teasing at its most refined. Now here's where Stoicism becomes your edge. You're not doing this to manipulate. You're doing this to master yourself. Because a man who can control his desire is 10 times more attractive than one who blindly follows it. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you realize you don't need her reaction to feel strong, your energy changes. You stop chasing. You stop performing. Your touch becomes a gift, not a tactic. You're not touching her to win her over. You're letting her experience the confidence in your body. And that's what makes it sensual. Not the pressure, not the frequency, but the precision. She doesn't want a man who touches because he can't help himself. She wants a man who touches because he chooses to. There's a world of difference. So make your touch feel rare, deliberate, clean, not because you're holding back, but because you're holding power. When your hands communicate presence, not need, she feels it. When your energy says, I'm not chasing, she leans in. When you can tease without taking, she wonders what more you're holding. And that mystery, that space you create by not filling every second with action, that's what keeps her thinking about you. Because it's not about what you do. It's about how you make her feel through what you don't do. Let your silence speak. Let your restraint shine. Let your stillness create a gravitational pull. If you can do that, if you can tease without needing to take, your touch becomes unforgettable. So here's your check-in. Are you touching to take something from her? Or are you steady enough to let her feel something real without pressure? If you've reached a new level of awareness about how your body speaks, drop this in the comments. I touch with power. And if you think that was strong, just wait till you see what happens when you walk away first on your own terms. Number 7. Control the pace. Slow is seductive. Let's talk about speed, because speed kills attraction. When you move too fast, you skip the build-up. You miss the electricity. You turn the dance into a transaction. And the truth is, most men move way too fast. Physically, emotionally, energetically. They hug like they're checking a box. They escalate like they're racing a clock. They touch, lean in, and try to close the gap before the moment even has time to breathe. But slow? Slow is different. Slow is masculine. Slow makes her feel like you're not desperate for the destination. You're invested in the experience. Let me give you a real-world picture. Mike is 45, recently divorced. Good guy, decent job, finally starting to get back out there. He meets Emily, 41, at a friend's birthday dinner. They talk. There's chemistry. They walk to their cars, and as he goes to hug her goodbye, his instinct is to go quick, get in, get out, keep it cool. But he stops himself. Instead, he slows down. He steps in, holds eye contact for a second longer. Then he hugs firm, calm, still. No patting, no awkward sway, just presence. When he lets go, he doesn't rush. He steps back slowly, holds her gaze again, and says, "It was really good seeing you." That moment stayed with Emily all week. Why? Because he didn't just hug her, he made her feel time slowed down. That's power. When you move slow, you signal confidence. You're not trying to get somewhere, you're already there. You're enjoying it. That's seductive. Here's the thing. Women are emotional processors. They need space to feel the experience, not just go through it. When you rush, you don't give her time to feel anything real. You come off like every other guy just checking off moves. But when you control the pace, she feels safe. She feels noticed. And most importantly, she feels something. Slowness doesn't mean being passive or hesitant. It means you own time. You stretch out the moment. You build anticipation, layer by layer. Every pause, every glance, every breath, all of it creates weight. As Epictetus said, no great thing is created suddenly. That includes chemistry. That includes trust. That includes sexual tension. And here's what happens when you control the pace. She mirrors you. When you move slow, she slows down. When you breathe steady, she follows. When you hold a pause longer than expected, she wonders what's coming next. That's where the magic is. It's not in what you do, it's in the space between. And most men fill that space too quickly, too desperately. But not you. You understand that the tension is the point. You don't rush to dissolve it, you let it build. Because you know this: if she wants more, she'll come closer. You just have to give her room. So next time you're face to face with her, whether it's the first hug or the fifth, slow everything down. Let the pause stretch. Let the silence hang. Let the energy rise. Don't chase it. Don't break it. Just hold it. Because a man who controls the pace controls the frame. And that's what turns a simple hug into something she replays in her mind for days. Now, if that clicked for you, and you finally see why slow is powerful, drop this in the comments. I lead the rhythm. And we're not finished. What happens when you leave while the moment's still hot? That's where things shift for good. You'll see. Number 8. Speak through stillness, not performance. Here's something no one tells you. Your most powerful communication doesn't come from what you say. It comes from how you are when you say nothing. Men are constantly told to lead, to impress, to show up. And what happens? They perform. They overcompensate. They become entertainers instead of presence. But women aren't looking for a performance. They're searching for depth, groundedness, a signal that says, I'm steady, I'm not going anywhere, you can feel safe here. Oh, that doesn't come from clever lines. It doesn't come from gestures or bravado. It comes from stillness. Stillness is not passivity. It's control. It's the absence of nervous energy. The quiet strength of a man who doesn't flinch under pressure. It's the eye contact that doesn't seek approval. The posture that doesn't beg for attention. The silence that doesn't need to be filled. This is rare, which is why it's magnetic, because the average man feels the moment getting intense. And he jumps to perform. He talks more. He moves faster. He explains. He reacts. He tries to steer. But the Stoic man, he stays still, because he knows presence doesn't need movement. It needs mastery. As Marcus Aurelius said, be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it. That's you. When tension rises, you remain the cliff. You don't collapse. You don't dance for approval. You don't overcorrect to avoid discomfort. You let it come. You let it pass. And you stand. That stillness, when she feels it hits harder than anything you could say. It tells her, this man doesn't chase. He doesn't collapse. He doesn't entertain. He contains. And containment, in the masculine sense, is everything. Because most men don't know how to hold space. They react. They please. They fidget, apologize, self-edit, and collapse under the weight of a moment that requires nothing more than stillness. But when you master stillness, something wild happens. You stop trying to prove. You stop trying to please. You start to feel full, solid, clear. And she feels that too. She feels it when your eyes don't dart, when your breath stays low, when your posture stays upright and unfazed, when your hands stay relaxed, not hidden, not performing. This isn't about coldness. It's about calm. Stillness doesn't say, I don't care. It says, I'm here. I'm grounded. I'm not moved by noise. And that, ironically, is what creates the noise inside her. Because most men are forgettable. They move fast. They try hard. They do all the things they think they're supposed to do. But the man who does less, who is more, he leaves a trace. Stillness makes her curious. Stillness makes her wait. Stillness makes her wonder what else is under the surface. And in that curiosity, desire grows. So, what does this look like in practice? It's when she looks at you to gauge how you feel and you don't flinch. It's when she tests your calm and you don't react. It's when she leans in and you let her. Not because you're cold, but because you're certain. Stillness doesn't mean standing in silence forever. It means letting silence speak before you do. It means listening so deeply that your response carries weight. It means saying only what matters and letting your presence say the rest. You don't need more words. You need fewer, delivered from a place of certainty. That's what she'll remember. Not how many jokes you cracked, not how many facts you dropped, but how you made her feel safe in your presence, even when you didn't say a word. That's masculine power. That's Stoicism in action. So if you're ready to stop performing and start holding the room, type this in the comments. I speak through stillness. And what happens when you combine this level of presence with the power to walk away? That's the next move. And it's a game changer. Number 9. Release her like you're still holding her. Most guys don't realize that how you end a moment is just as important as how you begin it. They think once the hug is over, the impact fades. But they're wrong. The most memorable part of a hug isn't the first second. It's the last second. The way you let her go, or don't. Because here's the truth. Letting go is an art. And if you do it right, it makes her feel like you're still holding her, even when you're not. Let me paint a picture. James, 52, hasn't dated much since his divorce. He meets Heather, 48, at a networking event. They talk for an hour, nothing too flirty, but there's something there. At the end of the night, she goes in for a hug. James doesn't rush it. He steps in with calm, holds her gently. No grab, no lean, just presence. But the key moment comes when he lets go. He doesn't drop his hands like he's clocking out. He exhales slowly, pauses, then gently releases. And here's what seals it. He doesn't pull back all at once. He lets his fingers linger, not in a creepy way, just in a composed, confident way. That pause says something loud. I'm letting you go physically, but energetically. I'm still here. That's the move. And she felt it. She thought about it on the way home. She smiled without knowing why. Because it wasn't just a hug. It was an imprint. Men often think masculine energy is all about intensity, but often it's the exit that reveals the most power. You don't release her like you're checking out. You release her like the connection still matters even when it's over. That tells her you're not chasing, but you're also not indifferent. You were present. You are present. And that calm energy stays with her. Now here's where the Stoic frame comes in. Letting go well requires you to be okay with whatever happens next. Whether she texts you or doesn't. Whether she circles back or disappears. You don't need the outcome to feel complete. You are complete. As Epictetus wrote, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. That includes her next move. You're not letting go to test her reaction. You're not lingering to manipulate. You're simply giving the moment a soft landing. It shows you understand one of the most seductive truths of masculine energy. Presence without pressure. Connection without clinging. Intensity without need. Because when you release her like you're still holding her, she feels it in her nervous system. It tells her, that was real. It leaves her wanting more, not because you held tighter, but because you released better. This is subtle. Most men miss it entirely. They detach too fast, pull away with anxious energy, or they linger too long, making it uncomfortable. But when you strike the balance, you walk away. And she still feels you there. And that's what lingers. That's what makes her text later. That's what keeps her wondering what you're like in every other part of your life. A man who lets go like that, he's not common. He's not forgettable. He's magnetic. So next time you're ending a moment, whether it's a hug, a date, or just a goodbye, pay attention. Let your hands speak without gripping. Let your pause mean something. And walk away like the energy is still connected, because it is. Now, if this helped you rethink how you end a moment, Drop this in the comments. I release with strength. And we're almost there. The final piece. The reason why all of this, your hug, your breath, your silence, actually leaves her craving more. Let's close it out right. Number 10. Leave behind a scent of mystery. She'll remember your scent. But it's not just the cologne. It's the feeling you leave in the air. That invisible fingerprint of presence. Then absence. And the echo it leaves in her mind. That's mystery. And mystery is addictive. Let's set the record straight. Most men kill mystery the moment they open their mouths. They overshare, over-explain, over-perform, because they confuse connection with confession. They think if they pour everything out, she'll feel closer. But closeness isn't built on information. It's built on tension, the space between what she knows and what she still wants to know. Mystery isn't about being shady. It's about being selective. It's knowing that not everything has to be said. Not every thought has to be voiced. Not every move has to be explained. Because when you leave space, she fills it with curiosity. And that curiosity, that's where desire lives. You want her driving home asking herself, what's his story? Why didn't he push for more? Why did that goodbye feel so open-ended? That's the scent you leave behind. It's not about silence. It's about subtlety. Maybe it's a comment you make and don't explain. Maybe it's a look you give and don't follow up on. Maybe it's how you touch with restraint, speak with brevity, walk away with intention. She won't have full closure, and that's the point, because closure is the death of curiosity. And here's the part most men will never understand. When you give her everything, your intentions, your schedule, your emotions, your whole life story, you eliminate the unknown. And once there's nothing unknown, there's nothing to chase. But when you leave just enough unsaid, her imagination goes to work. That's where attraction multiplies. It's not a game, it's a frame. You're not hiding anything. You're just not handing it all over on the first night. Because you know your value, you know your depth, and you know she earns access to the full version of you over time, not instantly. Let's take it deeper. Mystery isn't just about what you don't say, it's about how you carry yourself. Your pacing, your eye contact, the steadiness in your voice, the way you don't flinch under silence, the way you hold back even when there's an opportunity to overstep. That kind of restraint radiates power. It tells her, I don't need to perform for you. I don't need to oversell. I know who I am, and if you want more, you'll have to find it. That's how you flip the frame. Now she's leaning in. Now she's chasing. Because you didn't give her a show, you gave her a story that's still unfolding. And here's where Stoicism adds fuel to the flame. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Your energy, your calm, your presence, these are the scents you leave behind. They don't fade quickly. They linger in the minds of people who weren't quite ready to lose you. Mystery isn't built in one gesture, it's built in how you don't follow up, in how you don't reach out right away, in how you let silence do its work. The man who masters this doesn't become forgettable. He becomes unforgettable. Not because he was loud, not because he gave it all away, but because he didn't. He was composed. He was controlled. He was unfinished. And the unfinished story is always the most compelling. So next time you leave a moment, whether it's a hug, a conversation, or a room, ask yourself this: am I leaving her with clarity or with curiosity? Because clarity closes, curiosity opens. And a man who walks away with mystery in his wake, that's the man she keeps thinking about. So now you know it's not about the hug itself. It's about how you breathe, how you touch, how you hold, and how you let go. It's about energy, restraint, and presence. When you show up like a stoic, calm, composed, in control, you don't just make a moment feel good. You make it unforgettable. These 10 moves aren't tricks, they're signals. They tell her, without words, that you're different, that you're not trying to take anything, because you already are something. If this video opened your eyes or made you see yourself differently, make sure you subscribe right now. New power, new clarity, every single day. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.